Hi, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Professors. I am Taylor Kemp, the Director of Reformed, and with me today is Dr. Carl Vennerstrom. Dr. Vennerstrom.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yep, thank you for being here. So today we are talking about Dr. Vennerstrom. So you are a professor of theology here at the Augustine Institute Graduate School. The best place to begin is at the beginning. When did you come to the Augustine Institute?
Yeah, recently. So
Yes.
It's 1:30 now, 45 minutes, something like that. No, I started this fall.
It's been a great 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's been tremendous. Yeah, I've loved every second of it. So.
Yes, every second is valuable. Okay, so you came in the fall. Yeah. That puts us. You're at a couple months.
Yeah, a few months. Yeah.
And you've been teaching some courses and some students. And how's it going?
Yeah, I'm actually co-teaching with my provost, Dr. Bloom. So we're teaching the church in the ancient and medieval world. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm kind of taking the middle chunk of the semester. Okay. So I'm about to run out of lectures, and he's going to take the medieval section at the end.
Okay, so let's take a couple steps back. So tell us, how did you get here? What is your academic background? Where'd you do undergrad, postgrad?
Yeah. So I went to college in Michigan, Hillsdale College, a little school there. I was a Greek major. I think there were two of us.
I have to ask, how did you become a Greek major?
Yeah.
It's not your average, you're 18-ish going into undergrad. It's not your average 18-year-old is not interested in Greek.
Yeah, this is true. At Hillsdale, maybe more than most places. We had a lot of students in Greek for some reason. But at that time, I grew up Presbyterian, and at the end of high school and going into college, I was thinking I might go to seminary after college, become a pastor. So it was kind of just a practical thing. I thought, get that out of the way.
This will help me out, yeah.
And then for some reason, I was still going to be an econ major, and I was in these econ
Greek
classes.
and econ, they go hand in hand.
18-year-old Carl, I don't know what to tell you how he mixed things, but I really didn't like economics, and my economics professor, I hope he's not watching, but would spend the whole time talking about how stupid Christians are.
And
I
Hillsdale?
Yeah, it was weird. And he would hand out Wall Street Journal articles. Nothing wrong with the Wall Street Journal, but I like it really. But I was like doodling Greek on one of these printouts, and I accidentally left it there. And he made this huge fuss about it, and then again complained about Christians. And I was just like, Did you drop out at that point? Yeah, I would have too. I finished the class. But,
okay, you stuck it out. Good.
So then I told my parents I'm going to be a Greek major, and they were really confused. But but I loved Greek.
But although I'm assuming if you came from a Presbyterian family, were they excited about your ambitions to become a pastor?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I grew up in a really faithful Christian home.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a really sort of beautiful upbringing.
Okay, so elephant in the room. We are not a Presbyterian institute.
That's
what
true. Something happened between. Yes. Yeah. So part of it was Greek. I mean, I was reading in college the Church Fathers, Athanasius and Gregory of Nyssa and these other people, and Origen. And the way I started to approach Scripture just changed really dramatically around my junior year, I guess. And then I started to have some sort of doctrinal problems with the Presbyterianism, which I was a part of. So I thought I couldn't really, in good faith, go into seminary.
So when you're reading the Church Fathers, and so for me as someone who, I'm a convert as well, but I didn't come really from a previous Christian tradition. And so coming into Catholicism, it was kind of like the Church Fathers are all Catholic. When you're reading them as a Presbyterian, would you have considered them Catholic, or would you have thought that they were simpatico with Presbyterianism?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I wouldn't have thought of them as Catholic exactly. So if you read, I was reading, I think around my sophomore year, one summer, I read Calvin's Institutes. And he draws on Gregory of Nazianzus a ton for his articulation of the Trinity, especially. So in that sense, there's this idea, okay, these all sort of belong to us, and a lot of the reformers drew really deeply upon the fathers, especially Augustine, obviously. Maybe a tendentious reading, but they were still drawing on them. But when I started reading them myself, especially with sacramental questions, and then I guess I implicitly had expected maybe they're going to talk about justification all the time and justification by faith maybe, and there's just you can sort of maybe make that work
a little
little
bit
bit,
of Augustine
but
here, but like, not
besides
really.
Augustine, that you're not
Yeah.
going to be finding that really in Gregory of Nazianzus. So,
Yep.
yeah, that was alarming to me in a way, but
Yep.
this idea, okay, something else is happening, so
Yep.
I'd like to know what it is.
Okay, so you're in the second half of your tenure at Hillsdale, and you're starting to ask some of these doctrinal questions. Was this
Yeah.
like a difficult experience? Was it kind of jarring, especially
Yeah.
knowing like that you're coming from a Presbyterian family? I'm sure like your friend groups were also similar. In that sense.
My friends and a lot of my professors. Yeah, there's something extremely sad about the whole thing, honestly. But so it kind of took a long time, maybe relatively speaking, compared to other people. So eventually I went to Villanova because I wanted to keep studying theology. I wanted to keep studying patristics. And once I was there, after a while, I just started going to Mass. And then it was more or less a matter of time, but it still took about a year and a half or so.
Conversion is a very mysterious thing. It can take a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at Villanova. What's going on? So you're thinking about the Catholic Church and you're wrestling with these things, I'm sure. What's going on like the professional like before you wanted to be a pastor? You're now at Villanova. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, not thinking that far ahead, I guess. So
most aren't in college.
Yeah.
Or I guess Villanova, you're at your master's now, but yeah.
Yeah, but once I sort of made the turn toward Catholicism, then I guess the deck sort of got reshuffled, and the questions of what might end up with what my life might end up being. And so actually after Villanova, I was definitely interested in going on to a PhD, but wasn't sure that I wanted to do it. So I took a year off basically just to kind of figure out where my life might go.
Okay.
And all this time I was reading a lot of patristic medieval stuff and got really interested in monasticism. But yeah, so I took a year off and I lived with these autistic men in a house and I taught Latin and Greek at the Catholic Seminary in Philadelphia, St. Charles Borromeo.
So when did you enter the church?
2016.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Easter 2016.
DC.
Yes. Did you come in at Easter?
Yeah, and that's a funny story. So in Philadelphia, if you were already baptized, which I was, you were supposed to enter the church on Palm Sunday, so the week before.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning and just got extremely sick, like
no way,
in a disgusting way. And so I called the priest, Father Michael Rock, and said, like, I'm really sick. And he said, you could wait till the Easter Vigil or come in during as soon as you feel better during daily mass. And I was just kind of ready, so I came in on Tuesday. It was funny because the readings, like Jesus hands the morsel to Judas, and tells Peter that he's going to betray him, and he's like, oh.
You're like, I hope that's not me.
Yeah, that's not That's right. But then I was actually in DC at the Dominican House of Studies at Easter for the for the vigil. Yeah.
Okay. So I came in at St. Peter's on Capitol Hill, but it was our RCA process was taught by some Dominican priests from the DHS. So, and then we became very good friends with some of the Dominicans there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a nice little connection. So you come in at 2016 and when are you teaching at the seminary, St. Charles Borromeo?
That was 2016 to 2017.
Man, so you just go right into it. You're then just...
Yeah, well, my friend from college had just gotten the job, like running their Latin and Greek program, and their adjunct dropped out. And, so it just worked out.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so you take that year off, and you're thinking about a PhD.
Yeah.
And you knew. And what was your PhD in? What was your focus?
Yeah. So my PhD program was Early Christian Studies, which is kind of a mashup of.
And where was this? Sorry.
At Catholic U.
At Catholic U.
U in DC. Yep. So I got to know the Dominicans there as well. Yeah, they're really awesome. So I was in Early Christian Studies, which is this kind of mashup of theology and history and ancient languages. And so, my specialty is in patristics, and Greek and Latin, Syriac, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So you're at CUA, and you are studying the fathers with I'm assuming you knew you wanted to teach.
Yeah.
So then how did you end up at the Augustine Institute?
Yeah, so it was just Liz Klein emailed my...
you can find her episode too, everybody. Meet the Professors, Dr. Elizabeth Klein.
Exactly. So she emailed my dissertation director, and so I just applied for the job, I guess.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. It is great to have you.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be here.
So what do you love about teaching? Why did you want to go into teaching?
Yeah. It's interesting to know you want to teach before you teach, I guess. This is
totally,
kind of a funny thing.
No, I totally get that.
And actually, so at CUA, I mostly taught languages. Not entirely, but I taught a lot of Latin and Greek. And teaching church history is a lot different. One thing that I've just loved about that is that in your off time, you just find yourself thinking about what you're teaching. So your whole life can kind of get absorbed. And if you're teaching something really beautiful, that just has this sort of radiating effect into other things. So that's just personally, sort of selfishly, it's like really nice to have that be your job.
Yeah.
There's complications to it too, I guess. And then also with students, I mean, it's interesting. Even teaching Latin and Greek, I didn't really expect to like teaching that, but there's something incomparable to presenting something to someone and then having them understand it and being delighted by that understanding. Even just the simplest, like just teaching a language. And then I think that's even a kind of, it's even more deeply felt when it's about one of the truths of the faith.
Yeah. No, I would totally agree. And that has come across in most of these Meet the Professors interviews. And I think that for a lot of us that have, especially converts, but certainly those who are cradle Catholics as well, when someone teaches you the faith and you like get it, you get some aspect of it, it's so freeing. It really is. It's just like this kind of like, oh, like it just changes things. And to receive that is so powerful when you have a great teacher who like helps you understand God better or yourself or human nature or the art of friend, like anything, the sacraments. And then, to then be able to be an instrument in that for somebody else, like it's so, I can see that would just be like the best.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the faith, because it's like, it's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. There is really nothing kind of like it.
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit about you've only been here a couple months, but tell us a little bit about what do you think about the school, the students, teaching, classes, all the things.
Yeah.
That was very vague with a little direction, but
I can work with it, I think. It's been really beautiful. It kind of worked out well, I think, given my background. So I had a decent amount of experience teaching at Catholic U. I was teaching a lot of seminarians, but then a lot of priests, or also a lot of religious, and actually I taught some Greek at the Dominican House of Studies. So often older people who have a sense of what they want and what they're there for, and that's been really neat with distance education students. You don't have to be a kind of salesman for the subject matter.
That's true. Yep.
So there's the different formats, but metaphorically, you all sit down together and you're like, we're going to go about this business. We know it's serious and we know it's going to be rewarding. And to be with students in the different modes that I am with them who are like that is just awesome. Yeah,
I can imagine.
And I have friends teaching other places, and it's not like that most places.
Yeah.
And this is also true of the in-person students, obviously, too. But
right.
I think there's a way in which, if you think about distance education students, it's like, oh, you have to like all this stuff on the internet or whatever. But it's actually been really amazing.
Yeah. I was half distance and then half in person. And I agree. Our distance ed program, I was so grateful to God that I found it, because I just found it because I was just searching online for a distance program, because I was still playing soccer at the time. I didn't know where I was going to be, so I needed a distance program. And I had left college early to go to get drafted. And so I finished my undergrad online.
Yeah.
And then I did the AI online, and it was like completely different. Like the Augustine Institute online program, it tracks as much as possible, I felt, like a normal class. Like you have to watch the lectures the week that the lectures happen. You're keeping pace with the on-campus students. which makes all the difference in the world
Yeah.
and the interaction with the professors. Because
You
when
actually
I
feel like you're part of something.
You do.
Yeah.
And it also just makes it easier because if anyone out there is like me and has some procrastination in them, when I was finishing my undergrad, it's like, here's the course load. You need it to be done in 3 months. Go do it. And then inevitably you get a month out and you're like, wow.
Okay.
But so, yeah, I have a deep, what would be the right word? I have a deep just gratitude for the way that our distance ed program is set up. And then obviously it is different being in person, just being able to interact. I mean, one of the great things about the AI is you guys are all in the building and all the students are here and there's a very healthy interaction.
Yeah.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the other aspect of that, I like just I only know this by report, but what other professors have told me is that by the time the DE students have finished, they've been in the program for years.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of maturation that can happen over that long time that's not possible over like 2 years.
Yes.
Which is also neat. And I kind of feel like I'm in the same shoes, sort of. Chris Bloom told me when I interviewed that it takes 10 years to become a good teacher.
Wow.
And so I feel like I'm just sort of beginning.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to have that sense.
Yeah. Like really hone that.
Yeah. There's a lot of time to grow into being a theologian and being a teacher.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love our professors. All right. So I've, let's see, 3 quick hitters here for you.
Yeah.
Favorite saint and why?
St. Joseph Cupertino.
Not expected at all. No one else has said him.
Flying
wow.
friar.
I know he's the flying friar, but okay. So tell us why.
Yeah, he was bad at Latin.
You're a Latin teacher.
Yeah, no. Well, no, I mean, I think so he's my patron saint.
Okay.
And he was.
Did you pick him because he could fly?
No, he was given to me as a patron saint by my Catholic friend who he gave a few of his Protestant friends patron saints. So he gave me St. Joseph Cupertino. So I mean, you don't get to pick your favorite saint really. So
yeah, fair enough.
He picked me, and he's bad at Latin, but I really like that because I think it's easy as an academic to equate like the intellectual life perfectly with the spiritual life, that these are exactly the same. And obviously we want to say there's a deep coherence between them, but he's a beautiful reminder that these are not exactly the same thing.
No, they're not. Yep.
And I like that. And it helped me appreciate my students who are bad at Latin. So.
Yes, a little more sympathy. St. Joseph, he's praying for patience. And, yeah. I like that. That was unexpected. Okay. I'm going to put an asterisk before this. I'm going to ask, what is your favorite book of the Bible? Now, inevitably, whenever I've asked this question, many of the professors have responded with, oh, how am I supposed to answer that? I love so many books. So perhaps just one of your favorites at the moment, barring that may change or...
Yeah, good. I love, just at the moment, I love the book of Proverbs.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, of all the books of wisdom, you might say it's kind of boring. It's just like, I don't know, not always super interesting advice to someone. But I've worked on this guy, Evagrius, who wrote a little commentary on the book of Proverbs. And just a lot of the different images have stuck with me. And he takes it in a much different direction than I think Solomon expected. Yeah. But I still like the book of Proverbs as such.
Yeah, I took one of the electives that is offered here is wisdom, prophets and wisdom literature.
Yeah.
Or no, Psalms and wisdom literature with Dr. Gieschek. And he also has a short course that you can check out. So if you Google Augustine Institute short courses, you can check that out. But I had never spent much time in the wisdom literature, and I really came to love Sirach. But I did love Proverbs as well. And you love it, or I loved it because it's so practical. That so like when I found that when you're studying theology, sometimes it can be difficult for that to translate directly into our active lives. But Proverbs and Sirach are just so down to earth, and just very helpful as you're asking questions about how one should act or be. So I like that. Okay, favorite book. Or a favorite book. Perhaps not the title, but a favorite book.
Right. A book that's important to me, and which I really love, is The Second Coming by Walker Percy.
Okay. Yeah. I've never read any Walker Percy.
Okay, yeah. He's awesome. He's a great author because he only has 6 novels. So
Yeah, okay.
you can bang those out, and then
That is nice.
You've read his whole corpus.
What do you like so much about it?
Yeah, so I think he has a lot of insights. I like him in general for the same reason I kind of like the Desert Fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And he has these really beautiful descriptions of like kind of a psychological temptation or like what goes on. And it's really suited to a lot of the problems we have in our modern world. And I probably, especially it's because the time I read it in my early 20s, when it's just like a lot of what he talks about is this kind of like search, and you're trying to figure out like what your place is in the world, and a lot of people are sort of trying to craft an identity.
That's right. Yep.
And he has these sort of allegorical moments where people get like knocked out of this false search, like a toothache in a cave, and then they find out that they have to become responsible for other people and love them and sort of offer themselves to something outside of themselves in order to not go crazy.
The Second Coming by Walter Percy.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Walker Percy or Walter?
Walker
Percy.
Yeah, he also has a book called Lost in the Cosmos, the last self-help book, something like this.
Okay.
So it's kind of mocking self-help books. But
okay, nice. I know Dr. Ben Akers likes some Walker Percy books as well.
He's very entertaining.
A favorite movie?
Yeah, this is going to sound so pretentious, but The Lives of Others.
Okay,
Die Leben der anderen. It's like this German language movie.
Oh man, okay.
I know. I hate myself for saying this.
You. Yep.
But it's actually really beautiful. So it's about this. It's during before the like fall of the Soviet Union, East and West Germany, and there's this Stasi agent who's watching, constantly surveying this playwright who has not like a really great life, but he's resisting all the pressure that's on him to capitulate to the regime. And the agent has this like really awful life, but actually through watching this other guy's life, he starts to have this kind of moral conversion. It's really interesting.
All right. The Lives of Others.
Yeah. And again, I hate that I chose a form.
Should we try to get it on Formed?
We should try to get it on Formed.
Maybe
it might be tricky, but
it probably would be tricky. But we could try.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Vennerstrom, for being on. So
glad.
Everyone, thank you for joining us. The goal of a series is to introduce you to our professors who you see in so many of our programs and things going on. So if anything in this episode interested you about the graduate school, you can just go into Google, search the Augustine Institute Graduate School of Theology. You can see sample lectures. You can reach out and come for prospective student days and hear about all things going on. But it's a great school. So if you're thinking about it, you should check it out. Thank you so much for joining us, and God bless.